If you ever look at a story about the war in Gaza, you'll notice that a very specific number exists regarding hospitals in Gaza. That number is 36. Gaza had 36 hospitals before the start of the war. And what's funny is that I live in Silver Spring, Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. About 6.3 million people live in the D.C. metro area. We're served by only 13 hospitals. Now, Gaza has 2.2 million people, so that's a third the size of Washington, D.C. when it comes to population, and they have 36 hospitals, although that number is now down to between 16 and 19, depending on who you ask. And as I prepared to visit Israel in August of 2025 with a delegation from Newsmax, I began to research this question. Why the f*** does Gaza have so many hospitals?
So if you've noticed, I've been clean shaven in a lot of my videos recently. I attribute that to Hensen shaving. I can tell you that these cartridge razors are a freaking trap. I was paying $36 every 12 weeks or so for these, and my neck was getting all jacked up and red. I don't know if it's because my skin is getting different as I get older, but I can tell you this. This has given me a better shave, and it's cheaper. These blades for the Hensen razor, $10 for like 2 or 3 years of blades, and it's motivated me to shave every single day, which I kind of like the way I look when I'm shaving. I can tell you this, man. I only endorse products that I personally use. I gave this thing a shot. I think you should too. Go to hensenshaving.com/ryanmcbeth. You'll get 100 free blades with the purchase of a razor. Just make sure both of them are in your cart, or use code ryanmcbeth at checkout. There is a better, cheaper way to shave that you'll be happy with, and I've personally found it with Hensen.
Now, this video stemmed from an intelligence paper I did for a private client. You can find the edited version of that paper at ryanmcbeth.substack.com for paid members. If you want me to write a paper for you, it isn't cheap, but you can get in touch with me at ryanmcbeth.com to start the process. So let's focus on these hospitals. Maybe it's one of those things where, like, Gaza has so many hospitals because it's easy to build a hospital, right? Like, if you want to show support for the people of Gaza, you can build a hospital. It's nothing controversial about building a hospital. It's considered humanitarian aid. It's a pretty easy sell to your own population, and it provides good jobs for educated people in Gaza, right? Nothing stops a bullet like a job, usually. So, could all these hospitals exist because it's an easy win for the donating country and you get to feel good about yourself? Like, is it possible that all these Gazan hospitals, at least at the start of the war, were staffed by people who just kind of sat around because way too few patients here? Just another day sitting around waiting for patients. But that's not the case at all. The newest hospital in Gaza is the Turkish-Palestinian Friendship Hospital, which opened in 2020. It has a bed capacity of 200. That's not a lot. George Washington Hospital in Washington, D.C. has a bed capacity of 395. So the hospitals in Gaza tend to be smaller. But what if we're using the wrong metric? What if we go by number of beds? Gaza has 1.3 beds for every 1,000 population, pre-war as of 2019. The United States has 2.9 beds for every 1,000 population as of 2017 records. And just to kind of give you a range here, Greenland has the most beds at 14 per 1,000, and Mali has the fewest. So, yeah, visually it looks like Gaza has a whole bunch of hospitals because Gaza is so small, only 140 square miles. But in reality, Gaza's hospitals were severely under-resourced even before the bombs started falling. And as I dug deeper into this, I realized it wasn't the real story. The real story is underground, literally. So first up, there's this common perception floating around that Israel is targeting hospitals disproportionately, that hospitals are a symbol of military overreach. Out of the 36 hospitals pre-war in Gaza, only 16 and 19 are even partially operational. Over 84% of Gaza's health facilities have been damaged or destroyed during this war. This is a human catastrophe, no doubt about that. But here's what you're not being told. The issue isn't just about hospitals being hit, it's why they're a part of the strategic picture at all. Let me introduce you to the most sophisticated tunnel system ever built by a non-state actor. I'm talking 350 to 450 miles of underground tunnels, built over the course of 15 years, costing an estimated $1 billion. Some of these tunnels go directly under hospitals, schools, and homes. This isn't about hiding weapons, although they can. It's about weaponizing international law. This is lawfare, and this is intentional. Hamas built these tunnels under hospitals, not just to hide people, but in the hopes they would be attacked and destroyed. So let me show you the legal warfare triangle here. Civilian site, military use, targeting dilemma. Here's how it works. I've often said that in war you need to create dilemmas, not problems for your adversary. A problem is one or more solutions. A dilemma has two or more solutions, each of which are equally bad. Hamas integrates its tunnel system in with the protected civilian infrastructure, like hospitals. That means if Israel strikes a site, it's a war crime. But if they don't, the tunnels stay intact and Hamas gets to operate from them. Either way, Hamas wins. Either way, they force Israel into a war crime or they get to continue hiding in their protected spot. You can call this legal warfare or lawfare, and it's working. And the sheer number of hospitals actually plays into this. Because let's say if you have a sensible number of hospitals, let's say 3 large hospitals, one in Rafah, one in Khan Yunis, one in Gaza City. We're talking like GW Docks style, Washington, D.C. style hospital in Gaza. All right, so you have 3 hospitals. Let's say all 3 of those get attacked and destroyed. Well, then you only have 3 opportunities for international outrage. You only have 3 news cycles. You only have 3 opportunities for videos and protests and editorials written by people who have no freaking clue what they're talking about. But if you have 36 smaller hospitals, if you intentionally build military infrastructure under those 36 smaller hospitals, you have 36 opportunities to show Israel attacking hospitals. This is the first conflict in modern history where tunnels are not just used for tactical advantage, but to manipulate public perception and buy time through international pressure. This isn't about holding ground. This is about playing out the clock. Hamas wants these hospitals to be destroyed, and it wants them to be destroyed periodically in a timeline at set intervals. For Israel, this is like a boxing match where every time you throw a punch, you get penalized. So when people argue about whether a hospital should have been targeted, they've already been caught in the trap, because that's exactly what the trap is designed to do. This conflict has shifted the rules of modern warfare, and it's not going back. Here's why you should care. What we're seeing in Gaza isn't just a war. It is a doctrinal test case. Future conflicts might borrow from this model. From a strategic lawfare standpoint, if we look at a conflict between China and Taiwan amorally, it actually wouldn't be a bad idea for Taiwan to create hundreds of 50-bed hospitals and place them over military sites or weapons depots. That way, when China hits those sites, Taiwan can say China is bombing hospitals, which weaponizes humanitarian law. I'm not saying they should do that, but what we just saw in Gaza kind of sets the precedent. I'm not saying doing this is right. It's a tactic that countries can use, and it's something we're going to need to think about. And the longer it takes your adversary to respond, the more time you have to regroup, to survive, and to shift global opinion. So Gaza doesn't have too many hospitals. They actually didn't have enough. And what we're really seeing here is a war being fought for the headlines. Unless we understand that, we're going to keep getting blindsided by wars that don't play by the rules we thought mattered. If you learned something today, read the whole paper at ryanmcbeth.substack.com. You want me to write a paper for you, ryanmcbeth.com. Grab my Intel Life shirt at Bunker Branding. And hey, I'm an author. Last Republic, it's a really good book. Imagines Brigham Young founded his own country instead of the state of Utah, and what happens 170 years later when the United States doesn't want him around anymore, doesn't want the country of Deseret around anymore. Thank you guys so much for watching.
In a world where fashion meets firepower, where style becomes strategy, it's time to gear up for the ultimate mission with Bunker Branding. Introducing the Rock Out With Your Chalk Out t-shirt, a tribute to the fearless air cavalry. Feel the adrenaline rush as you don the pride of the skies. For those of you who dare from the air, precision and power unite when you think outside the bomb. And don't miss our Live, Laugh, Launch t-shirts for Patriot and HIMARS, because sometimes defending freedom means bringing the thunder. Finally, for the true defender of the seas, we present Department of the Boat People. Sail with honor and show your allegiance to the world's mightiest maritime force. With these shirts, hoodies, and stickers, along with the tow missile, landmines, and drone warfare. These aren't just shirts, they're statements. They're your way of saying I stand for strength, unity, and style. Get yours at Bunker Branding today.